So hello everyone. Welcome to this week's Socratic Dialogue. So the discussion for today's Socratic Dialogue is, we explore how principles like justice, rights, and power and rule of law apply beyond courts in everyday decisions we make at school or government or even in companies. So the question for discussion is, you pick a company and apply one idea like burden of proof or right to education or rule of law or values as limits of power to a situation in that company. Now, how would that particular principle or rule help resolve a conflict or solve any major problem or even guide the decision making in that company? So that is the question for discussion for today. But before we begin with the pitches, let's have the introduction starting from team one, that is team fundamental force.
Okay, so I am Megha Karmakar. I'm the coach of Team Fundamental Force. I work as web developer for Deep Thought.
Very good evening, everyone. I'm Afreen and I'm a team member of Team Fundamental Force.
Good evening, everyone. This is Nandini, and I am also representing Team Fundamental Force.
Good evening, everyone. I am Kartikeya. I am representing Team Fundamental Force.
Good evening, guys. I'm Nandata and I'm the coach of Team Ethics Struct.
Hello everyone, I'm Darshana Adam. I'm a UI UX designer at Deep Thought and today I'm part of Team Ethics Struct.
Hello everybody, good evening. This is Ananya here, working at HGR Lab and a part of Team Ethistruct.
Hi everyone, I'm Daita and I'm a part of Ethics
Hello everyone, I am Shivam Kumar Swanakar and I'm the moderator for today's SD. So let's begin with the presentation. So which team would like to go first?
Yeah, Team 1.
All right. So before you begin, can we have a short 1 minute summary of what we're going to present and also the reason behind the naming of your Team Fundamental Force?
Yeah. So very good evening, everyone. We are Team Fundamental Force and we named it because we believe that leadership is not just about decisions, but designing fair systems. Just like engineers build structures, we build justice into teams. And our presentation, we explore how constitutional ideas like rights, justice, and values aren't just for courts. They're the tool for leadership, for culture, and also for decision making in our teams. Moving on to the slides. So, extrapolation means taking a good idea from one world, say law, and applying it to another, like business or leadership. When done right, it's not copying, but it's evolving. Today, we'll show you how the rules that protect citizens can also protect the teams in a corporate world. Moving on to the next slide. As we know that power is everywhere, not just in parliament, it's in classrooms, team meetings, or determining who gets to speak. Rights are not just protections in court, but designing tools to prevent power turning into toxicity. And that's what we are here for, to how to implement in a project. Over to you, Nandini.
Thank you, Afreen. Well, justice isn't about emotion, it's about process. Even the most obvious villain deserves a fair trial, not for their sake, but to protect the system. At work, to assume innocence because blame doesn't build teams, investigations, and learning too. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the constitution begins not with rules, but with values, and the values we have to follow. Why? Because systems without soul collapse under pressure. As leaders, we need to define our own preamble. What won't we compromise even if the performance drops? Next slide, please. Imagine if every team had a due process, every classroom gave the right to be wrong, every startup had a basic structure doctrine. These aren't just legal theories, they're operating systems for sustainable leadership. Over to you, Kartikeya.
So, on to the next slide. We can apply this to a real case. Example at TCS, imagine a junior reports harassment. The leader should not jump directly to protect the accused because he or she is a senior. She should uphold the process, listen and investigate, that too based on emotion, that too not based on emotions but values. So on to the next slide. So right, justice, values are not just for lawyers; they are for everyone, founder, intern, and leaders building something trustworthy. If a constitution protects a billion people, our values can protect a team of five. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Fundamental Force. Over to Team Ethics Struct for their questions.
So I have one question. In
Yeah.
your PPT, you mentioned that clarity is greater than compliance. Can you tell why clarity is greater than compliance?
Who would like to answer from Team Fundamental Force?
Well, I will like to answer that. Well, clarity is greater than compliance because in a leadership, if you don't have a clear and set out organizational design principle, then it will make more like the traditional more challenging. So if we have a better idea of what's going through, then compliance will automatically come.
Do you have any follow-up questions?
Yeah, I do have a follow-up question. So
Sure.
what do you exactly mean by compliance here?
Compliance means understanding the why behind everything, right? Because if you, for example, if it actually creates fear and obedience, like you have to do something, this is like an order you are giving and you expect people to comply to it. And I think this will make the organization more authoritarian. But if you give them clarity that why this rule or value is created, then they will respect and actually understand the essence of it. So we are not following something blindly, but if we get a clarity about it, then we are bound to comply or understand the values behind it, and it goes
Okay.
smoother.
Okay, Nandini. Are you satisfied, Ananya and Team Ethics Struct?
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for Team Fundamental Force?
Yes, I would like to ask, how are you saying that rights are design tools?
Can you elaborate the question a bit?
Yes, in your PPT, it's mentioned that rights are not just legal, they are design tools. Why?
They are design tools, as in because they're structured in a way, right? You mean like what's the difference you want? I don't understand. Like why are we using the term design or
Yes, how are rights the design tools?
all right. We are using the design tools because we are actually checking the whole process. We design it a way that actually goes with the values of the company or industry, or let it be the country itself. So it fits everyone because in pol science we have heard that your rights end where the other person's right begins, or your freedom ends where the other person's nose is interfering. So it's designed in a way that you can still enjoy your rights without harming or damaging the other person's rights as well. For example, freedom of expression, right? That it's that you can explain your thoughts and processes, but you cannot say anything offensive that will hurt the sentiments of other people. Similarly, in the organization, you're free to do things, free to do actions, but there are some kind of constraints or some kind of things you need to keep in mind. So yeah, rights are designed. So in rights are design tools instead of legal tools.
Are you satisfied, Daita?
Yes.
Any other questions for Team Fundamental Force?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Yes, Ananya.
So you have mentioned right to fail, but considering it's not recognized as fundamental right under the Indian Constitution, how do you justify using it as a classroom right? Like on what basis are we framing it as a right rather than a mindset or a policy?
Let's not go on
Basically,
tangents, Ananya. Yes, because still it is a concept, right? Like it is a creative idea. So any other questions regarding the topic we are discussing?
Okay, I have one question.
Sure,
So
Darshan.
how extrapolation is bringing post principle thinking, right?
Yeah, so how extrapolation is bringing
Yeah,
first
like you
principles?
mentioned that extrapolation brings post principle thinking across the domains. So how it is? Can you explain?
Hmm.
yeah, so first principle means starting from the very basics which we have and talking about the constitution, the basic rules of, right to speak and right to share what you have. And as we are relating to the organization, so that's what the first principle we have in the organization. Every team member has this right to share their thoughts and contribute to the team equally, no matter what the level of that teammate is. So yeah, the first principle is basically referring to the very basic freedom rules which every team members must have.
Are you satisfied or do you have any follow-up questions, Darshan?
They are satisfied.
All right, so in the interest of time, let's move forward. Over to Team Ethics Truck for their presentation. But before you begin with the presentation, can we have the reason why you named yourself as Team Ethics Truck?
Yeah, so I would go in for that.
Sure, Ananya.
Yeah, we named our team as Ethics Struct, which is short form for ethical structure, inspired by the basic structure doctrine. We believe fairness and justice should be built into every company's foundation and not treated as an option.
All right. So can you give a 1-minute summary of your presentation?
Yeah.
Sure.
So big companies like Tata or Tesla don't just need policies, they need mindset checks. Because without mensaria, that means the intent, punishment turns into prejudice and not justice. Fair conflict resolution isn't just a legal talk, it's a workplace survival.
All right. Thank you, Ananya. So you can begin with your presentation, keeping in mind the time limit of 3 minutes. You may start now.
So today we are talking about extrapolation, which sounds very complex, but it's simple. It means taking a smart idea from one place and using it somewhere else. So now, how fairness and justice aren't just for courts, they can help solve problems inside companies too. Let's be real, managers, HRs, and senior leads hold serious power. They decide who gets hired, who gets promoted, and even who gets fired. But what if someone misuses that power? Can we move further? Yeah. Like blaming a junior to cover up their own mess, that's not just unfair, that's an abuse of power. And in workplace that can ruin careers, mental health and trust. Over to Daita.
So when someone is accused, we usually pick a side right away. But really, the smart move is to believe neither the accused or the accuser until you have done a proper investigation. Everyone deserves a fair chance to explain, and that's what builds a safe and trustworthy culture. Moving on. The Constitution starts with a preamble, so it's there to protect people when rules alone aren't enough. In companies, it's the same. What really matters are the values we stand for, like fairness, respect, transparency, and accountability. These are what create a strong ethical workplace. Moving on. Legal thinking isn't just for courtrooms, it actually makes a lot of sense in the workplace too. It helps us make safer, fairer decisions. Ideas like innocent until proven guilty, the right to be heard, these aren't just legal concepts, they are smart business practices. Over to Darshana.
So imagine a developer at Tesla is accused of sabotage. The easy thing will be to blame them right away. But the right thing will be to pause, let the fair process uncover the facts. So this approach keeps things honest and respects everyone who is involved, even the accused. So until the truth is clear of the accused. So moving forward to the conclusion, fairness and justice aren't just a courtroom ideas, they matter at work too. So when companies slows down, check the facts and treat people with respect, they make the better decision. So a just workplace doesn't act on impulse, it thinks first and then moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Ethics Struct. Over to Team Fundamental Force for their questions.
Yeah, I would like to ask, uh,
Sure.
how would you evaluate this whole process of is the justice served? Like, who is the check? What are the check marks of it?
Can you be more clear, Nandini?
Yeah, as in if there's a accuse or accusation about some issue, how would you determine that is this a valid concern or is something to be evaluated? Like, or something that deserves a trial?
So, like, if you're talking about process, so what we can do, if someone is accused, okay, someone is accusing to someone that he has done something or something. So we can do is listen to both the sides. Okay, so what both the sides are telling. If there are any like evidence or proofs that both the sides can give, we should collect them. We can also talk to witnesses if there are any. Okay, is to see others' perspective in this too. Okay, and like review it, like, and after reviewing both the side, we can come to a fair decision.
Got it. Uh, are you satisfied with the answer, Nandini?
Yes.
Do you guys have any follow-up questions?
Yeah, I would like to ask, like, how do you maintain fairness in any organization, Why waiting for an accusation or why waiting for a report where someone felt discriminated? How you maintain the fairness, like avoiding these things in any organization? Like we have constitution which avoids these things.
Okay, so the way that we can have fairness is to have a rule for everyone, same rules for everyone, right? Uh, have a neutral rules and like as I said, listen to everyone. What is that? So in this way, we can have the fairness, show the fairness, right?
Adding to it, we can apply legal principles such as being innocent until proven guilty and granting the rights to be heard, having checks on power and conducting neutral investigation would also help us to keep the fairness.
Are you satisfied with the answer, Afrin?
Yeah.
Any other questions to Team Ethics Struct regarding their presentation?
How would you ensure that like the justice is served properly?
So as I said before, by listening to both the sides, right? Okay, and the process that we said, like listening to them, if there is any proof, taking that proofs, okay, and the decision shouldn't be biased on both of the. It should be unbiased decision taken by someone. In this way, we can make sure.
No, as in, for example, our country is running through a constitution with some legal, like fundamental rights or directive principles, or some court case studies which we use to determine our just to serve the justice. How in a company we are going to use? Like you're hearing the sides, how to determine that who is right, who is wrong, and what's the you know outcome.
So, for this, I think it's there is an act, Company Act 2013, where there is a grievance team, okay, which look into such conditions and make sure there is an unbiased decision is made. So we can use that.
What if the act doesn't cover the offense which happened?
So usually all companies have grievance officers.
Right. Like basically, you are referring to the personalized code of conduct, right?
Every listed company has their own grievance committee, and that such cases are investigated and they make sure that the investigation go fair and there is no biasness there.
What references they take to ensure that it's being followed? Just as in India, we are taking the help of constitution or legal documents to see that yeah, it's a crime here mentioned, so we are being penalized for it. In a company, one document you mentioned about company acts, you're taking reference, but what if the offense is not listed in any legal document by government or something? What if the offense is very personal? For example, a dress code violation. It's not, it varies from company to company, right? But how to determine it?
Could you be more specific with this question, like you said
Sure.
violation? Yeah.
Basically, some offenses are not something which goes directly into legal way, right? As in something not major, something that makes you pay a fine or something that makes you go to jail. I'm talking about offenses which are minor but still somehow is disrupting the ecosystem. Something that is not listed in the legal document or something which is not same
Actually,
for every company. It varies from company to company.
no,
So how are
it
you going to
doesn't.
Yeah, go
ensure?
ahead, Ananya.
It
As
doesn't
in
go
the
like no. Actually, what happens is, uh, in the act, like Companies Act, there are two terms which are one is known as tort in a civilian perspective and a tort in a criminal perspective. Now here, tort is wrong. Tort is French word which is used to describe a wrong thing. Now, as you said, it varies, but again, the offense which you are saying, like violation. Now, this violation comes under civil tort. Now, Companies Act covers this tort.
right,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
Got it.
So are you satisfied with the answer, Nandini?
Yeah.
Okay. So with the interest of time, let's move forward. And before we end up this week's Socratic dialogue, let's have three reflections based on the discussion we had today on how the constitutional laws can be used in company and help resolve problems and right decisions. Great, Afrin. You may begin with the reflection, Afrin.
Yeah, so it was an amazing discussion of how important rights are not just for a country but for a corporate world where team is working. Not just because the corporation is small or large, the rights must maintain the same. And the discussion which we were having about how to maintain it and how can we be fair about giving rights to someone. So for that we can just keep a team which is responsible just for that, a legal team in a company who is responsible to maintain the decorum and maintaining that everybody is equally treated, so that
Right.
there is no biasness, and no one is above or below anyone. Everybody is equal in front of that group of people in that company. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's
Thank
my
you, Afrin. Thank you so much. Who else would like to come for reflection based on the ideas you talked about today?
I will go second.
Sure,
I,
Nandini.
I think extrapolation or ideas of law and justice and following certain principles gives company a structure, and a certain structure is very needed to run things smoothly. If there are certain rules or values from very big no deal breakers to certain small core ones, then I believe a company will be in the right track. So if anything major happens, we will know how to solve the issue and move ahead.
Right. Thank you, Nandini. One last pitch. So, who would like to have that pitch? Reflection.
Yeah, I would like to go.
Sure, Ananya.
Yeah, so today I learned about the concept of extrapolation, which means taking an idea from one place and applying it somewhere else. Now, specifically, this presentation showed me how legal principles of fairness and justice typically are associated with the courts and can be powerfully applied within the organization. Now, I understood the importance of investigation. Like, instead of immediately believing an accuser or accused, a company should always investigate. This neutral approach is
Right.
vital for finding the truth. So, in essence, what I learned is that applying legal thinking to company situation makes workplace safer and leads to wiser decision, because a truly uh, we just we just truly reflect once before acting.
Right. Thank you, Ananya. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this week's Socratic Dialogue. Thank you.